Alright, so in this video, we're going to be talking about polar coordinates, what they are and what are some of their uses. So in the past couple videos, we've been talking about parametric equations, and this was when we had something like y that couldn't equal a function of x because maybe that function didn't pass the vertical line test, something like that, right? So what we would do is describe the motion of x and y with respect to our parameter, right, with respect to our input, which is t, okay? So we would have two functions, maybe like 3t, 2t plus 1, something like that, and we would input a t, and we would output an xy pair, okay, something like that. So it was another way to graph something. And polar coordinates are the same thing in that sense, right? They're allowing it, it's another way to graph something, okay? But now, as you notice, this is polar coordinates, okay? This is a coordinate system, okay? We're dealing with a whole different coordinate system. So we're no longer dealing with xy coordinates. Those are Cartesian coordinates, right? We're dealing with r comma theta. Okay? Now r is going to be the kind of the radius, I guess you could say, right? It's the radius. It's going to be the distance from the origin. All right, those that are familiar with vectors, right? R is basically the resultant, right? It's kind of like that. Now theta is the angle made with the polar axis. So now here's kind of what we're talking about here, okay? So we'll have a point out here, right? And the coordinates for this point is going to be r comma theta. And r, like I said, it's going to be that resultant, right? It's going to be that distance from the origin to that point. And the theta is that angle made with the polar axis. This is the polar axis. It's kind of the, you could kind of say it's the positive x-axis, okay? And that angle that we're making with that, well, that's theta, okay? That's the second coordinate, all right? So what is this coordinate system kind of allowing us to do? Like, why are we just describing something in another way? Well, kind of the way the reason that you could probably relate with the most right now, because there's a bunch of other uses later on, but what you can relate with most right now is the fact that it's going to make derivatives and integrals a lot simpler. Okay, so you might have a really messy function and you can simplify it using polar coordinates and then integrate really nicely, or you can take a really nice derivative, something like that. Okay, so in that case, like, we're switching from xy to r theta, and you're going to learn all about that, all about switching to different coordinate systems, graphing polar, taking derivatives, integrals, finding the arc length, all that stuff we're going to talk about in the coming videos. So stay tuned for that, and that's going to do it for this video.
So if this video helped you, make sure you leave a like and subscribe by clicking my icon in the top left. You can also view the playlist for parametric and polar and the next video in this series. See you soon.